G'day guys, my name is Lord Tomo here again with another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collectible review. As you already know, this is the main star of the show, Sonic the Hedgehog. Kind of got bored of my other comic that I was reading, The Blue Beetle. Check that video out if I recommend it. If I recommend it, I do recommend it. And he's trying to pick up this one, Spawn. A little darker than good old Shadow the Hedgehog. But anyway, if he wants to read that, let's put him aside and let him get traumatized for the rest of his life. Anyway, this is somewhat of my part 2, if I can call it that. It's more of an independent review than anything else, but it's definitely part 2-ish. I'm not going to call it part 2, I'm just going to mess with that. And this is the item. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog, or in this case, Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog plush review from the same company as my previous video of Sonic, Caltoy. Why Caltoy? Lovely company, just why Caltoy? Anyway, following the same format more or less than the Sonic one or every other one, we're going to talk a little bit about the box, of course, and go from there. Now, the box itself is, as I mentioned in many other times, is predominantly purple. I do believe that the 90s had a fixation with the color purple. For whatever reason, I think it kind of juxtaposes the color blue, green. That's the best way to, sometimes sounds are the best way to describe things than actual words, but anyway, that's probably the closest thing. Now, this is a brand new, not pure mint, but near mint. Obviously there's shelfware, you can see that on the actual side. That's mostly caused by the actual pressure of his two tails. Now, I'm going to say this straight out of the bat before I take him out. I will take him out, I will show you, I will talk about it, of course. Straight out of the bat, Tails is an awesome plush, and they made an awesome plush out of this. It's just absolutely superb in ways beyond it. Things individual. If you're a Tails fan, I highly recommend you seek this out, simply because this is a plush that's pretty much perfect to the rendition to the original Tails from the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 game, from the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis, whichever console you purchased it for. Really highly collectible, and it's, you know, Tails isn't my favorite character personally. He's still, you know, good, but it's not like, oh my god, I've got to, you know, thingy. Knuckles has always been true to me, more or less, in that sense. And Sonic, of course, Tails is more or less, oh, there's Tails, let's just throw him into the collection. But this is just, when I caught wind of this plush, I was like, you know what, gotta get the Sonic, gotta get the Tails, and bought them both. So anyway, enough about my ranting about me liking this. Let's go ahead. As you already know, this is the barcode. I'm going to assume, just for argumental sakes and due to the actual craftsmanship of the actual, you know, plushie itself, it's probably worth $30. Whoever had it at the time obviously removed the barcode. Not complaining. It's pretty, you know, having the barcode on will make absolutely no difference, because I've never been a fan of this image. He kind of looks, you know, demented. Oh, I'm special with Tails. Oh, I don't know why. You obviously have his name's Tails, which is from Sonic the Hedgehog, awesome, and you have the company of the little girl holding the toy above, Caltoy. Is that a cow? Could you class this as a toy? I think you could, maybe. On the actual side, you have good old Sonic the Hedgehog, and you have Tails there. Now, just a little trivia, the actual original creator, Yuji, or one of the illustrators anyway, had inspiration of the Disney Mickey Mouse. That's why more or less you had, for example, Felix the Cat, even Sonic the Hedgehog, the original renditions anyway, certain arts anyway, not everything heavily, kind of resembled more or less Mickey Mouse, as you can probably tell by this actual image. Extremely adorable, and it's something that I always wanted to get, simply because I like getting original art from, or original vintage sort of toys or anything, that original art at the time, which reflect the historical context of it and also the cultural context of it. And I do believe this pretty much captured it in that sense. On the other side, it's exactly the same, obviously the same company, Calton, obviously Sega, and you have a little blur that says, as seen, what does it say? As seen on TV and in hit video games. Okay. At the back, it is the actual. Now, I'm just gonna bring out the Sonic one just to show you the differences. Besides, obviously, this is the Sonic one, the one I previously reviewed, you can check that out. And this is the Tails one. The Sonic one had more colorfulness to it, whereby the Tails one didn't, which was a small nitpick, I would say. Nothing too major bad, but it was something that was like, why? It is predominantly purple. The only difference is you have Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog, and you have a picture of, oh, special Tails picture. I'm not a big fan of that. The Tails itself, plushie, is held by just a gold metallic little bendable thing-ish, or whatever that's called. and you have his blur. I'm just going to hold this just for so you guys can pause it if you want to read it. It says, "Hi, my name is Miles Towers Prower, but you can just call me Towers." It's pretty nice how they played that with words. Miles, as in like the miles of distance. Towers is towers, and Prower. Prower is being an extension of the word power, so it's like Miles Power. Pretty nice, pretty cute. I like how they try to keep the whole, you know, speed aspect to their names to an extent. So this was pretty cute in that sense. I do like the originality. So he obviously has a bunch of obviously his little bios, his little thing, and you obviously have the company there, Caltoy, which is CNH Toy. Where do you get the H? You don't even have a H in there. Nah. And you also have a barcode, and you have a service washable. So if you want to wash this, just don't throw him in the washer. Just wash him gently. And that's the overall box. Now this box in particular is still good. The Sonic one far exceeds it in many ways than one, but what this exceeds in, which the Sonic one doesn't, is, look, you're gonna put this bendable thing aside, put the box aside, is the overall design of this plushie. Now this plushie, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and I'm not even going to start picking on this, because quite frankly, this is a plushie. If you're a Towers collector, that's definitely worth its weight in gold in every conceivable way. I have to repeat that again, in every conceivable way. This is a plushie that really captures the richness of the Sonic of Towers in the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Being Towers, his ears are, you know, he's more or less made of a fox. Is larger than that of Knuckles. What am I saying? Knuckles. He's larger than actual Sonic, which is awesome. You have his adorable nose, which there it is on the side, captures it beautifully. You have his plastic eyes, which is extremely adorable. You have his little smirk, awesome. You have his beautiful little stomach here, which really captures the essence of that as well, to the point where it's like a little jagged. They even go so far to give him gloves and little cute little adorable hands that have the little, you know, wristbands, if you can call it that, little bands, which is adorable. And his shoes, once again, small nitpick. There's no real details on the sole, but I'm not complaining. That is definitely just a small nitpick thing at all. But his overall shoes captures it. Now the overall design, I think it's the same thing as polyester, polyester fiber. Now what really sold me from this plushie, and the reasons I wanted to get it, is because every single plushie that's ever been released by the Towers line anyway, which isn't bad, to be honest. It's not really bad. It's just like his fringe was more or less like this. They just shaped it and just glued it. I'm not complaining about it. It's still a nice effect. It's just I wanted something that really you could think is alive, if you could imagine it, and this is it. Yeah, look at his absolutely adorable fringe. It's got like a little mohawk going on. How absolutely adorable. This is, if you're a chick and you want to play around with it, it's like mohawk. He's a rocker. He's a metalhead. You can even mess around with it. Put it to one side. He can be, you know, the whole hipster. Oh my god, I'm a hipster Towers. That was funny. And I'm so lame. And yeah, you can mess around with it. So his fringe was by far something I was just like sold me completely. So I was like, you know, bonus points in that. The other thing that sold me is probably what you guys probably noticed the most, is his actual tails. They really pumped up the actual furriness of his actual tail. Like, I wish you could actually grab it so you can feel it for yourself. But his overall body is, well, you know, it's furry. That's what he is. He's a fox. That's his fur. But they have added extra more fur to his tails, which really gave that a beautiful essence that he actually could fly, which was extremely adorable. Plus, he's actually more fluffy than that. Now, if you guys focus, I guess to an extent, on the actual comics or the Archie comics, or you know, just general art on the actual putting me on stage, because you're the star of the show, on the actual you know, pictures and all that stuff, you'll notice he has additional little hair coming out of his, you know, cheeks, kind of like a fur. Now that's how fine the detail goes. You can actually see the final detail on his actual sides over here as well, and you also have it around here on his cheek and his cheek. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this plushie. Like, there really isn't. I like to see anybody say anything bad about it, to be honest. It's one of those plushies where it sells itself so much more than you could ever imagine. Now there is a small little feature that this one had, that in conjunction with the Sonic one, which I gladly grab. Now both of them are from the same company, and you can tell straight out of the bat which is taller, right? If I can do it. Sonic is the taller one and Towers is the smaller one. You can see how beautifully well they did it. They created the dimensions I'm stuttering so bad. They can create the dimensions of both the Sonic and the Tails. It's just so well played out and so well thought out. It was just impressive within itself. I never would have imagined they've gone to that depth of details. Now we'll just put a Sonic or so, as to actually, you know, to more or less to keep the dimensions more accurate than anything else. This is probably the most show, cartoon, comic, game accurate to that of anything, of any plushie that's currently out there that I'm aware of. And mind you, I do have a few Tails ones, which aren't bad. I just this one just sold me. This one, the minute I called Window, I was like, I gotta have this in my collection. Now, obviously, I mentioned this was, oh, I didn't make mention. This was released more or less in 1992, 1993-ish, thereabouts, when the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 came out. So, obviously, to cross-market, cross-promote, cross-make money-ish out of this. And the company is Caltoy. I don't know why they would call themselves that, but even if they'd made other toys other than this, Caltoys, I don't know why. Now, the actual pricing, funny enough, the Tails one was more expensive than the Sonic one, which it makes total sense to me, because obviously, you know, the Tails one is more, in my opinion, more well detailed than that of the Sonic. Not to say the Sonic one isn't bad, it's just the Tails one stands out even more. Like his Tails, you know, by far stands out. This actually cost me about 180 bucks. Steep, know, not for everybody, of course, but you know, obviously, if you're just selected with Tails, you know, merch or figurines or whatever, you know, definitely a nice pickup. In terms of rarity, I'm gonna have to bump this up to 8.5 stars out of 10, simply because, well, I do see it popping every now and then in its pure entirety with the box and everything. Not as much. So if you're gonna buy single, it's probably just gonna drop in value, maybe 6 stars, maybe thereabouts. But in terms of the Tails one, it's definitely, with the box, it's definitely, you know, 8.5 stars out of 10. I wish I could talk more about this, but it's definitely a nice display piece. Oh, God, look at this range. Oh, he's like a dead little fox. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this review, and please, by all means, leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you more or less want to know any information or just want to know about anything and everything, I'm always here. Guys, thank you for watching. Stay classy and speed on. Peace.